Yo, what is going on, guys? Matt HQC here with a brand new video, and today we are looking at every injury and illness you can get in Dayz currently. So we will start off on the injury side because it is a lot shorter than the list of illnesses that you can currently get in Dayz, and they're just a lot more treatable than most of the illnesses. The illnesses can be super annoying to deal with. First injury is obviously the one that everybody has the most trouble with, and that's fracture. So fractures have become very fun. If you jump from a certain height, there is a chance that you will break your legs, and that has been very fun for lots of people. The quickest fix that you can actually do is using codeine pills or a morphine auto injector. This only extends your period of walking. It doesn't actually fix it. You're still gonna have to go and make what is called a splint. Now the quickest way to make a splint, of course, is going to be a couple sticks and some fresh rags. That way you'll be able to walk. You won't be able to run. That is still gonna have to heal. It's gonna take some time, but you'll be able at least to walk around and you're not gonna be sitting there. We'll just quickly run through the other ones as they're very obvious. Bleeding, of course, bleeding happens whenever you run in something and you get cut. It could be a zombie, it could be another player with a knife, something like that. The best way to treat it is going to be with bandages and clean rags, as long as they're not ruined or dirty or anything like that, so you won't get an infection. Burn damage, it's not really a big one. There's not really much you can do. Don't touch the hot stuff. It'll make your health go down. That's about it. There's not really anything that you need to cure it. When you're walking around, you start hearing your character go ow and making a lot of pain. You see your health going down. Usually you want to check your shoes, because this is your foot pain. Your shoes are more than likely ruined, or you're not wearing shoes. In that case, you might stop. If you have some friends with you, go ahead and ask them to grab you some shoes from the closest town, so that way you don't end up bleeding out, because over time it will just continuously cut your feet. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let's get to the main one. So every illness for Dayz. The first one is the one that everyone loves. Now I am going to butcher this more likely, but it is Kuru, K-U-R-U. This is a consumption of human steak or fat from dead humans, of course. It's not that much of a big deal, as it'll just make you start uncontrollably laughing as your character goes a little insane. The only thing that really sucks about it, though, is it is permanent. The only way to treat it is to actually kill your character or have someone else kill you. So do be aware before you eat the strange human steak in Kamishovo. Some of the other more common ones, of course, the common cold. You'll see the little germ emblem on the bottom right of your screen. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have the flu or that you are really sick. You could just need to take some tetracycline pills and you'll be just fine, or you could just wait it out. You'll know if it's just a cold if you're only sneezing, you're not having any other symptoms. When it's the full-on flu, usually you'll have the coughing, the sneezing, and the fever, where your screen will go kind of blurry and your character will try to wipe his forehead like he's sweating. They both have the same cure. You just need to take some tetracycline pills. That's really about it. Fairly common to get, so just make sure you have some tetracycline pills on you at all times. Now, for some of the more preventable ones, Salmonella is super easy to get, because you can easily just kill a chicken or something and have to eat the raw meat because you're starving, or maybe you kill something and then you end up eating with bloody hand. That's the easiest ways to get Salmonella, and it'll cause vomiting. It'll take your health down tremendously, especially over time, and the only real way to cure it is charcoal tablets. Another one is if you get an infection, you have to catch it very early on whenever your character is just constantly going ow, ow, ow all the time. There are a few different stages of it, but once it gets past stage 1, I do believe the only thing you can take is tetracycline pills to try and get rid of it. But at stage 1, you can actually disinfect it using alcohol tincture or iodine tincture, whichever one. Just make sure whenever you are bandaging up that you are using bandages and not actual rags. Rags are fine as long as you do have this tincture on you, so that way you can disinfect your wounds whenever you need to. Another one is cholera, which you can get from drinking unclean water. So think of if you're drinking from a pond, stream, or river. To start to vomit, get some blurry vision. You'll get very dehydrated no matter how much water you drink. And of course, as you're drinking water to try and replenish what you've lost, you're going to keep throwing up. It's a huge endless cycle that is just very easy to avoid. Like most of the other illnesses on this list, the only way to treat it is tetracycline pills. So it is just a lot easier to try and carry some chlorine tablets on you at all times, and try to stick to just drinking out of the wells whenever possible. And lastly, for the more preventable ones, is chemical poisoning. You only really get this if you drink disinfectant like the alcoholic tincture, or if you drink gasoline. It will cause blood loss and water loss, and the only way that you can treat it is charcoal tablets, as it is a type of poisoning. Next, for the more sophisticated illnesses, we are going to start with a heart attack. Yes, you can actually have a heart attack if your blood pressure has a sudden drop. So let's say you lose a lot of blood very quickly, you can actually go into shock and have a heart attack. And the only way to actually, I guess, fix this or solve this is a epinephrine auto injector or a defibrillator. Next is one that, just like the first one we talked about, whenever you get this, you're just kind of screwed. It's called a hemolytic reaction. I don't know, I might be butchering that, but it's basically whenever you have an improper blood transfusion. So essentially, if you and your buddy are two different blood types and you end up taking his blood and doing a transfusion because you're so low, it will cause this reaction if you're not the same exact blood type, and you will take a lot of blood damage, and sadly, there's no cure for it. I don't know if maybe you can count kind of reacted if you do have some of your own blood on hand. It would be worth a try, but I can't guarantee that it's actually going to help you. And the last one is the one that they just added in patch 1.15, I do believe, or maybe it was 1.14, and that is gas poisoning. Now, gas poisoning is exposure to the contaminated zones that they just added recently. I do have a video talking about all the contaminated zones if you do want to check it out. I'll leave it in the description down below. But essentially, there are different contaminated zones throughout the map, and they can be randomized. It's a whole process. And if you do breathe in this gas, you will start to experience a lot of symptoms, as there are, I think there's 4 to 5 different stages of gas poisoning. Depending on what stage you make it to, you will experience coughing, vomiting, bleeding, health damage, unconsciousness, and death. And sadly, the only treatment for it is the POX antidote. Funny enough, the only way to get this antidote is to actually go into the contaminated zone and hopefully find it. It's not guaranteed that you will even find it, and any of the randomized zones over cities do not spawn this, so don't even bother wasting your time. Yeah guys, that is gonna do it for today's video. Now, this isn't every single status that your character can experience. These are only the injuries and the illnesses. Let me know if you want a full list of the statuses, and I will go ahead and do a video on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.